My name is Jessica and I have no idea what I'm doing. I hope you can hear me over the air conditioning, but it's very hot. It's over 90 degrees. If I don't use it, all the makeup is just going to melt off anyway. Today I'm going to be reviewing something that I definitely did not think I would ever be reviewing. The Morphe James Charles palette. So, funny enough, a large Ulta box came to my house the other day, and my mom gave me this look like she was going to kill me. And I said, I swear I didn't order anything. Turns out my friend was sneaky and gifted me a couple things for my belated birthday and graduation. So this is one of them. This thing is a monstrosity. There we go, that's probably better so you can see the shades. The reasons that I wouldn't have bought this on my own are simply because this top half here is quite neutral, at least for me. I know what there are some bright shades in there. Down here, definitely I'm more attracted down here. This is more my speed. It was just something that I did not need, but now that I have, thanks to my friend, I am certainly eager to play around with it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play around, test it out, and show you guys some looks and swatches. I am hoping that the colorful shades in this giant palette are going to be similar to those in the Morphe 35B palette, because I love this palette so much, but unfortunately they discontinued it a little while back. I don't know why. So I'm hoping some of the colors and quality will be the same. Alright, this is a tough choice to start out, but I think I'm gonna go with some purples and pinks for the first look. So I'm gonna start with my fluffy brush from Wish, and I'm gonna start with this shade here called Pinkity Drinkity. Okay, that's interesting. It's a matte light pink, like almost like a cotton candy pink. And that is going to be my transition shade. And just so you know, I primed this eye here, but I did not prime the other eye, just so we can see if there's a difference. So it's already coming off a little darker than in the palette, which is okay. I want to see if I can get that more opaque. So I'm going to switch over to my BH Cosmetics brush with a 3 on it and just see if I can really pack that on. I also have a fair, cool skin tone, so, you know, a pastel-y kind of pink may not show up as much on me as I want it to. I'm also going to take a clean brush, same brush, I just cleaned it off, and I'm going to blend that out. Well, doesn't look blended out on camera, but as usual, it is blended out in person. Next, I'm going to take the same brush and I'm going to go into this medium light purple shade called Single. I feel attacked. It's a matte, and I'm going to put that in my crease. And of course, blend it out. I may actually add some more of the Pinkity Drinkity shade on top, just to blend it out more and make sure I keep some of that pink. So I feel like they are coming out a little more pigmented on the side with the primer, but not a terrible difference. What do you guys think? Next, I'm going in with my IBY crease brush, and I'm going to go in with the dark matte purple, which looks very nice, called Escape. And I know this is taking, that's a lot. I know this is taking a risk because my eyes are very hooded, but I feel like trying to fit 3 colors in there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it real deep in my crease. Ooh, I like this one a lot. And of course, blend it out the best I can without losing all the colors. You know what, I think I'm going to go in with this little brush here, BH Cosmetics brush with a 6 on it. It's really little. And I'm going to use that, I think, to just kind of pack on the deeper purple and deepen where I want it. And then even blend it out a little bit with this. Not the traditional brush for this, but fake makeup guru here. Okay, I think that looks good. I really like that shade. I'm going to use it again. Wow. I'm going to put that on the outer third of my lid. Wow. It's so rich and yet still so purple. I feel like some dark purple shades, they turn like black. Well, it looks black in there, but it's not. I'm telling you it's purple. Just gonna fix that a little bit. So yeah, this is keeping its purpleness, yet still being pigmented and dark. And just in case look at all this fallout. Just in case anyone's wondering, the palette smells like makeup. Next, I'm gonna take Artistry, which is this shimmery, glittery purple. And that is gonna go on, okay, interesting. It's gonna go on the inner 2/3 of my lid. I was hoping that was gonna be more glittery metallic. It's got like a slight duochrome to it. It's got like some blue shimmer. Yeah, I was really hoping that would be more metallic and glittery like it is in the pan. I'm just gonna blend it into the purple. You know what, maybe on the other side I will use glitter glue and see if that helps. Right, that's better, but needed to be built up, as you saw. Alright, so I just applied some NYX glitter primer to my eyelid, and I'm gonna put this on top. Honestly, there's not that much of a difference. Maybe it's supposed to be subtle, but we all know that I'm not really one for subtle when it comes to bright colors. This palette is so big. I don't think I would have a problem with it if I wasn't... Can this go back? No. So just letting you know, this cannot go back. I don't think I'd have a problem with it if I wasn't trying to show you guys the colors as I was using it. Like if I was just using it off camera, I would just leave it on my dresser and just tap in and whatnot. So for my lower lash line, I think I'm going to use Skip, which is a hot pink, quite fluorescent looking. I'm going to use this on my BH Cosmetics brush with a 5 on it, and I'm just gonna... Wow, okay, that's bright. I mean, which is good, I'm not surprised. I mean, that's what I went for. I am wondering, however, will this shade stain? We'll find out. I didn't even look to see, like, are some of these not eye safe and whatnot? We'll find out. Do as I say, not as I do. Read packages before you just open them and do things with them. Just to use all the shades in this one little area over here, I'm going to use this one on my little brush from Wish that looks like the one I just used. It's called Love That. And I'm going to put that very close to my lower lash line. It looks like that's not as dark as it looks in the pan, because I think I would see more contrast between it and the bright pink, because I'm not seeing that much of it. And I think you can see a little bit of a difference from the side of this eye. I think I like the bright pink on its own better, but it's not terribly different. I'll have to see what this shade looks like on its own. Yeah, so maybe on its own it looks different. Might have to try it. I do wish there was a like maybe shimmery baby pink in here, but there is not. The closest I have to that are these two here. This one's more like a cool tone champagne, and this one is like a medium peach. Those shades respectively are Sister and Literally. I think I'm gonna take Sister on my dollar store brush. It's like a champagne-y peach color. And I'm gonna put that on my brow bone. It's actually very subtle. I'm also gonna take it on my finger, and that's what it looks like. I'm gonna put it on the inner corner. Can you see that? Maybe that's what I need to do on my brow bone if I really want it to show up. I mean, you know I want to say all nice things about this palette because my friend got it for me, but I can't do that because that would not be honest and thus not helpful to you guys in deciding if you want this palette or not. That shade definitely worked better with a finger. I wonder, are these supposed to be toppers and not like actually eyeshadows? Like the shimmery ones at least? Maybe I should read the darn packaging and stay in frame. That would be helpful too. So I'm looking at the back of the box, and yes, that one I was thinking was a pressed pigment is a pressed pigment. Technically not eye safe, but that depends on like what country you're in and something about the staining. I don't really know too much about it. Well, actually, all of them that I used today, except for Sister, are pressed pigments that are not eye safe. I will let you know how eye safe these are tomorrow when after they've been on for a while. Jokes aside, I'm sure it'll be fine, just because I haven't had much of an issue. I'm not gonna say I've had no issue, but I've had mostly no issues with that kind of thing before. But it doesn't say anything about toppers. So for today's shades, I really loved this one. This one I thought was good too. These were okay. This one I wasn't crazy about. See how nice it looks in the pan, but I mean you see how subtle it is on my eyes. And I have a feeling this one has more potential, but because I put it over this and just very close to my lash line, we didn't get to see what it can really do. And this one here, again, is pretty subtle. So out of the shades that I used today, I used 7 of them. Mixed review, but I'm gonna keep playing around and see what else I can create. So yesterday's look held up well on this eye. On this eye it creased, but I also had the NYX glitter primer without a regular primer underneath, and that usually happens on me. So I'm giving it another fair shot. No primer on this eye, primer on this eye. Also, you can see that the pink did stain a little bit, but other than that, I don't have any other staining and no irritation. So today I'm gonna actually go for a neutral look. I mean, how could I not when most of the palette is neutral? So I think that this shade here is really pretty, this gold. So I'm gonna build my look around that. I'm gonna start with this shade over here called Canvas with my dollar store brush, and I'm gonna use that to set my eyeshadow primer and create a base from crease to brow bone. It's just about the color of my skin, and it's matte. Next, I'm going in with my fluffy brush from Wish, and I'm going to go into this shade right below it called Punch Me. I don't watch James Charles, so I'm not getting all of the inside jokes here, but that's okay. This is going to be my transition shade. I feel like this shade is very close to one of the shades in the Too Faced Original Chocolate Bar palette. So that may be good for some people. And I'm just going to try to blend that out a little bit with a clean brush. So that was fine, but I think I am going to put a little more of that with my BH Cosmetics brush with a 3 on it, just because I plan on using a few different colors in my crease again. And with my hooded eyes, I want to make sure I don't lose this shade, but I might anyway. Okay, next I'm going to take this one over here called Tea. I mean, at least I know what tea is. And yes, I know it's not just the drink. Ooh, that's darker than I expected. Well, that's gonna be my crease shade. And maybe I won't add a third shade then, because that's darker than I expected. Okay, then I think I'm gonna add the shade below it called Benny, which is a very dark, cool toned, like cocoa shade. And I'm gonna put that on the outer third of my eye. Wow, that is very dark. I mean, at least on me, it's really looking more black. So I think what I'm going to do is take Tea again, and see, that comes off like darker. I'm going to try to blend that together with it. Lighten it up a little. Just go back and forth a little bit. I mean, they're very rich and pigmented, just darker than what I expected and what I was going for. Just going in with my IBY crease brush to kind of blend it all together a little bit. So that's kind of like a rich coffee kind of look. And next I'm going in with Wig, which is that very pretty antique gold, almost brown bronze kind of color. I'm hoping this works out better than the purple from yesterday. Looks okay, but let's see. I'm gonna put that on the inner 2/3 of my lid. I mean, it's better than the purple shade. It is. I just still thought it would pack more of a punch. And of course, blending that into the matte browns. What do you think? And I'm sure with the glitter primer, it will either do just as well or maybe a little better, but I'm not going to do that again today so that we can see what this side does. For the lower lash line, I'm going to use my BH Cosmetics brush with a 5 on it and go back into Tea, because I think that shade is dark enough on me on its own. So that's the only one I'm going to use on the lower lash line. So I'm going to use it on the outer third, maybe outer half. We'll see where the shadow takes me. Sometimes it has a mind of its own. And then I'm going to take Wig again, and same brush, and just put that on the inner 2/3 to inner half of the lower lash line. Also, I feel like this shade is pretty similar to the Too Faced Original Chocolate Bar. And really, I guess the dark brown as well. So again, that may excite some people. I think what I'm going to do is take some of So Good, which is this lighter gold here. It's like a very light gold, somewhat champagne-y. And I think I'm going to see if I can put a little bit of that, oh, that's pretty, on the inner third here. And like start blending that into the middle shade. Just to, I don't know, try another shade and to lighten it up a little bit. Give it a little more luminosity. I mean, subtle, but I think that looks nice. Actually, that could potentially work as a highlighter shade on me. It's not as dark as it looks, but that's not what I'm going to use today. You know what? I lied. Yes, I will, because maybe there are other people out there who want to see what that can do as a highlight on pale skin. So I'm going to use that one again. What is it? So Good. I'm going to start with my dollar store brush and take some of that and put it on my brow bone. So used in this way, it's kind of subtle. I feel like, okay, yeah, I put some more on and now it's getting a little dark. So it can be done if you just used a little bit. And then I'm also going to use my BH Cosmetics brush with a 6 on it, the little tiny one, and use the same shade on the inner corner just to see. So yeah, now that I'm packing it on more, yeah, it's a little too dark. If you use just a little, then it can work for a fair pale skin tone. I have to say, I do like that. I mean, you know I'm not a neutral eyeshadow person, but as far as neutral eyeshadows go, I think that looks really good. I like the cooler tone to it. Everything was pretty pigmented, blended pretty well. Things were a little bit darker than I expected, but that's okay. What I am going to do, I'm going to try this big pan called Face. It's like a beigey champagne shimmer with my Moda contour brush. And I'm going to try and use that as a face highlight. I don't know how well that's going to go. Not much is coming off my brush or going onto it. Okay, I see something happening. Do you? I'll show you in natural light as I usually do. Probably if I used my finger, I could get more of an impact with this. But for now, we'll just use a brush. Funny, those tones kind of match my hair. I mean, my hair looks a little darker right now because of the lighting, but you guys have seen my hair before. And just so you can see the original chocolate bar from Too Faced, here, here, and here were the shades I was talking about. Yeah, those are pretty close. So yesterday's look wore just fine on the primed eye. On the not primed eye, it did crease a little bit with the matte shadows, but keep in mind this eye is also, well, it's hooded in general, but also more hooded than that one. So if you have average eyes, then it's probably not going to do anything bad on you without a primer, but I'm going to continue using the palette with a primer on both eyes. Also, I feel like this video is going to be super long, so I may actually split it into 2 videos of me testing out different sets of colors from this palette. Today I want to play around with some of the blues, but do I want to add some greens in there? I'm not sure. I think I'm going to set my eyeshadow primer with this matte white, at least like a light wash of it, called Flashback. I'm going to use my dollar store brush for that. then the more I look at these, the more I'm kind of unsure of whether they're blues or purples. I think they're more of like a blue indigo kind of color. Next, I'm using my BH Cosmetics brush with a 3 on it, and I'm gonna go into Brother, and let's see. Ooh, that's a lot of pigment. Okay, I'm gonna use that as my transition. Oh wow, okay. On me though, at least, it is coming off more like a violet purple rather than a blue. That is a very interesting color. Next, I'm going in with my IBY crease brush, and I'm going to go into Cola, which looks like a muted navy cobalt, darker version of what I just put on my eye, and I'm going to put this deeper into my crease. This one looks a little bit bluer, but still in that like weird indigo, almost purple, cool toned purple range. Don't get me wrong, I like it. I just kind of can't tell what its real color is. Very interesting. Next, I'm going to take Acapella, which this is definitely a blue. It is a shimmery, dark blue, maybe almost like a peacock kind of color. And I'm gonna put that on, I think, the outer third, maybe outer half of my lid. Yeah, that is most definitely blue, which we already knew. But now, next to that color, it makes it look even more purple. Next, I'm going to take Hello, which is this shimmery bluish mint color. And I'm going to put that on the inner half, really, of my lid and blend it into Acapella. So I don't really like the contrast in the warmth and coolness of the lid and the crease, and it's nothing wrong with the shadows, I just don't like the color combination. So I'm gonna take a risk and I'm going to try to break it up. I'm gonna use the black, which is called Spooky, and I'm gonna use that with my BH Cosmetics brush with a 6 on it. I'm gonna see if I can put it real deep in the crease. I'm just going to clean off the brush, try to blend it into the other shade. Alright, not bad. Next time I just wouldn't pick that color combination. I think I'm even going to take a little bit of it and put it on the outermost third, really like outer corner of the lid. And then I'm just going to fix up the other shadows a little bit by just going back and forth and adding a little more on top to make sure we didn't lose them. So it ends up being a little more dramatic than I wanted it to be. I mean, when is blue eyeshadow like not dramatic? But I think you know what I mean. I didn't want it that dark and that, you know, dramatic with the black, but I don't really like how this looked together. Personal preference. For the lower lash line, I think I'll start with Brother on my BH Cosmetics brush with a 5 on it. And I think I'm going to start by just running that under the entire thing. And then I think I'm gonna put Hello on the inner third on top of that. You know what, I think I'm gonna use my finger for that. That's better. And then you know what, I think I'm gonna take my brush from Wish that looks like the one I just used, but smaller, denser, flatter. And I'm gonna go into Playground, which is that bright matte turquoise. And I think I'm gonna put that really close to my lash line. Okay, it's kind of interesting. So I think this palette has a very interesting combination of blues in it. You guys know I love blue eyeshadow. I think all of them performed pretty well. It's just an interesting combination of them. I mean, everything seemed to be good quality. I think my favorite though was the one I used as a transition shade, simply because I don't think I have anything quite like that. And it was like a blue purple kind of color. So I'm going to end this video here and then put up another one where I do some more looks from this palette, simply because I take too long and my videos end up being way too long. But my thoughts right now, so far so good. I have liked the majority of the shades that I used. Honestly, the most disappointing one was that shimmery purple. And I think that some of these are comparable to the Morphe 35B palette and the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, which is good for me and I'm sure good for some of you as well. And of course I hold that Morphe 35B on like a pedestal, but even in there, not every shade is perfect. So just because not every shade is perfect in this palette doesn't mean it's bad. Overall, happy so far. Thanks again to my friend who gifted it to me. Alright, that's it for today. I hope you have a good day no matter what it is you're doing. Bye! See you next time!